No, stop crying, okay? Stop crying. Ow, 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 ow. Watch out, Scarlett. Move! Hello? Hi, Steve. Can anybody hear me? Steve's mic. Can you hear me, Steve?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Hi, I'm Anne. How are you? Welcome.
Hi,
So,
thank you.
So this is pretty casual as far as when I do these live classes, Steve. I'm home in my home office. My dogs are here. So, just anything can happen, pretty much, right? The phone can ring. So, but it goes pretty smoothly. So Lynn is here with us. Good morning, Lynn.
Good morning.
And we are waiting for Diana. So my video you'll see you should see what's on the there's one video that has my name on it that is my hands and what we're going to be doing with our iPad. And then there's another one with me. So I'm really just focusing on what's happening with the iPad. So, and I've printed out the two pieces that I emailed you, the shortcuts and gestures and the cheat sheet. So, I'm going to refer to them a little bit, but not that much. I want to wait for Diana to get here.
We should open Procreate, right?
Yes, you should open Procreate. You should also have the image that I emailed you that, let me see, I'll show it to you.
Got it.
It should be saved. So,
Yeah.
because we're going to learn how to import into Procreate. I just want to grab one more thing while Diana is. Oh, waiting for Diana.
Steve, have you tried this before?
Talking to me?
Have you tried this before?
No, I just bought my iPad very recently, so.
Ah.
Steve, you also, I have you down for the 3-day workshop, but then you also purchased that video for the KDP upload.
Yes.
Did you have any trouble with that?
No, it was fine.
So is your goal to publish a book?
Yes. Eventually.
Eventually.
There's so many things going on, but it's something I've always wanted to get better at drawing.
Yeah. Let's see if she's here yet. I don't see her. Let me just send her a message. Scarlett thinks that she can do anything she wants today. So I am recording this outside of Zoom, off of Zoom, and I'm going to edit it, and I'll edit it as much as I can, but it'll just be what I'm filming is what I'm recording. And I'm not recording it in Zoom.
Huh?
Does that make sense, Lynn?
No, what did you say? I'm sorry.
Okay, so I am going to record what I'm doing in Procreate, but I'm not going to record it in Zoom.
So we can see it again, or we can't?
We're going to be able to see it again, hopefully.
Okay, got it.
Okay, here's Diana. Let's give her a minute to get settled. And of course, I've got to get the dog something. Okay, guys, that's it. Come on. Okay, so Diana is here. Can you hear us, Diana? Can you hear me, Diana? I don't think she can.
I can't find a picture I got.
Diana, we cannot. Can you hear me, Diana?
Sure looks like she's still connecting.
Does it look like she's still connecting?
Yeah, that's what the text is saying underneath her name.
Isn't that the worst part of a Zoom meeting when everyone is trying to connect and it's different every time.
No, the worst part of a Zoom meeting is watching people eat during the meeting.
Or how about the people that stand up with no pants? Then you're in trouble.
Oh, right. I can't find where I downloaded the picture. Okay, I see it now.
Can y'all hear me?
Oh, we can hear you.
Okay.
Okay,
I don't
cool.
know how to get myself on there.
I think at the bottom you have to click on well, you're on your phone, right, for the video part?
Let me see here. Because I see all of you.
Is your camera open?
Oh. It's okay. I can see you all.
At the bottom it should say start video. Now your microphone is off. Now your microphone is on. There should be a little video camera if you click on it.
Yeah, nothing's coming up. I'm on my phone, so I don't know if that makes a difference.
Oh, maybe you have to swipe. What do you think, Lynn?
Oh, I see a start video. Okay, gotcha.
Hey, there you are. Okay, cool. All right, so let me see if I can do. All right, so what we're really focused on is what I am doing here on my iPad. So I know that, Steve, are you using an Apple Pencil?
Yes.
Because Diana is using a stylus, which is the coolest thing. I was thinking this morning, why did I buy this brand new iPad recently? So that I could use an Apple Pencil when I could have used my old iPad. And Diana bought a stylus, which was $20 and looks just like an Apple Pencil.
Oh, wow.
Can you imagine? I was like, that's crazy. So I'm actually thinking of buying that stylus for my old iPad. And it works. Does it work on your iPhone? It works on your phone.
Yes, it works on the iPhone. It works on my phone, which is an Android. Works on everything.
Wow. Okay. All right. So what we're going to do today is we want to basically learn what all of the functions are. So the first thing we're going to do is open Procreate just by clicking on it. And hopefully this is good. You can see this well enough. The first thing it'll come up to is this gallery. And what we want to do is click on the little plus symbol up in the upper right-hand corner.
Okay.
And then you don't have a plus sign?
I only have the images. Oh, the plus.
The plus.
Got it. Okay,
So that's
sorry.
going to bring up this little box that says new canvas, and we just want to click on the one that says paper for today. For today's purpose, we're just going to click on the one that says paper.
Paper?
Yeah, and it'll just
Okay.
bring you to a white screen.
Okay, gotcha.
So today we're going to work on a still life drawing in charcoal, and all that means is that we'll be taking we'll be working with a brush that will simulate a charcoal drawing. Okay? And then throughout it, just feel free to ask any questions, but we're going to go through what all of these little functions are across the top, which is basically what I listed here for this little cheat sheet as far as what all these things are. For actions, return to what happens when you click on the wrench, all that type of thing. Okay? So throughout all of it, I thought it would be easiest each week that we meet to work on a project rather than just play with the functions. So as we're working on the project, we'll play around we'll learn what all those functions are. Okay? Does that make sense? All right, so,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Steve?
No, I was just agreeing.
Yeah, because I want to just kind of do a little overview of them first. So let's just take a look at this upper left-hand corner. And when you click on the wrench, if you click on that wrench, it's going to bring up the actions panel. And the actions panel is going to tell you a few different things. And what we're most concerned about right now today is the canvas option. So we have this canvas option, which is the second one in. If it's blue, that means it's been highlighted, it's been selected. And what I like to do is click on Drawing Guide and toggle that switch. Because what that does is if you have a little bit of a shaky hand, that Drawing Guide is going to help it get straighten out. It's not going to look so, the line's not going to look so shaky. And the other thing is that shaky hand when writing is like completely different than a shaky hand on this. So you could have perfect pen, your hand could not be shaky, or maybe every line weight is okay when you're using just a traditional drawing or writing tool. But with this, it's a little bit different. So I always opt for that Drawing Guide tool. My screen is bringing up just a grid for my background.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get rid of that grid so we're not too confused. Click on Edit Drawing Guide. And now I want to click on, in the bottom right-hand corner, I want to click on Assisted Drawing, and that's also going to help us with the shakiness and be able to control it a little bit better. And then I'm going to click on Symmetry. Now, I want to show you what happens here before we're not going to choose this option today, but I want to just show you what happens with all of these. So if you were to click on Symmetry and then you click on Options, it gives you options for a symmetrical drawing. So vertical will give you a line down the middle. Horizontal will give you a line across the middle. Quadrant, it'll divide it into 4. And radial, this is what we'll use when we work on our mandala in the next meeting. Okay? So let's cancel out of this for now. And we're back to this grid. Go back to the wrench.
Wait, so how do we cancel everything? We uncheck and unguide?
Up top, up at the right-hand corner, there's a yellow button that says Done.
Okay.
And then there's another button, so click Cancel.
Okay.
All right, now let's go back to the wrench. We're going to kind of repeat what we're doing a lot so that you can get used to it. I firmly believe that you got to do it in order to learn it, right? So let's click off of Drawing Guide, and that's going to take us back to a blank screen without that grid. So we don't want that grid. Okay? So now just click anywhere on the white paper.
Okay.
We're going to call it the paper. So there's the white paper.
Okay.
Now this screen right now goes right to the edge. So if you take a look at, I gave you that the shortcuts and gestures. So we want to, if we want to get this paper to be a little bit smaller, we just want to take 2 fingers and pinch them outward. I'm sorry, get them zoom out. We want to kind of get it to be a little bit smaller. So basically what my paper is doing now, it's sitting on a black background. You want it to go out to the edge, we can make it go out to the edge. So whatever one you feel comfortable with. Some people like to have that, like a border around it. Let's keep our border as our iPad today. Okay? So I'm going to throw a lot of information at you and over the next 4 sessions, and then this way something will stick. What is happening here?
Oh my goodness. This just made me notice a crack in my brand new phone. I can't believe it.
Oh, brother, I thought you were going to say your glasses.
Well, it's just as bad because it's a brand new phone, $500 phone.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so let's take a look at the next function of the brush. So if you click on this little paintbrush, the brush library panel will come up. And what we're concerned about today is charcoals. Now, your first one is probably sketching and then inking and then drawing. I have a few others up top because those are some brushes that I downloaded for free, which there are tons of brushes you can download for free. And you can, some of them are designs. For example, I'll show you this floral stamp one. It's actually just flowers. So if you were to click on it, click off it, click, it actually makes the flower. Just by a tap. Okay?
I need you to do that again.
So if you click on the, well, you don't have this floral stamp, but I'm just showing you what happens here. That floral stamp. So now this is a good opportunity to say, okay, well, how do I get rid of this? You have two options. You can either erase it with this little eraser tool, which is next to the hand, and then just take your pencil and just erase.
Okay.
Or on the left-hand side, there's this little tiny like arrow that's hooking over to the right, to the left. It's got like a little loop to it. That's undo.
Yeah.
So if I just keep clicking that, it's kind of like when you're on a computer and you click Control Z to undo. I do that a lot when I'm working on a coloring book. To the point where it got to the, like, one of them, I was out of my undos. I couldn't do it anymore. So this is basically undo. So now we're back to the beginning. Okay? So let's take this this brush right here and let's play around with what's here. We've got our paintbrush. Brush panel comes up. Find the one that has chalk holes. And then find the one that says Willow chalk hole, which I believe is the 5th one down.
Got it.
Okay? So if you click on that, another screen will come up, Brush Studio. We're not going to do anything in here. You can change all different functions or properties of it, but let's just start simple and leave it as a simplified. We don't want to get too fancy today, okay? So we're just going to go with done. So we've got our Willow chalk hole selected. Click off that, so anywhere on the white page.
Okay.
Now let's just play with it for a minute. Just kind of, you've got your, it's already set. What ends up happening is the brush has some presets when we saw inside that brush properties screen. And those are referring to these up and down little sliders over to the left-hand side. The top one is for brush size, and it looks like mine is set at 2%. The next one at the bottom is set at 52%, and that's the opacity. So if you wanted this to be darker, you would make it lighter. You would make it lower, lower. So we're going to click on this, click off, and then just simply get some lines going in there. Just to kind of play with it. Click on the eraser. Let's see what happens when we erase. You can change your brush size to make the eraser bigger. Don't be afraid to press and to actually like press against the glass of the iPad. When I first started using this, I was like kind of on an angle like I would write. But then I was afraid to touch it. A lot of people will wear like a glove that goes on one finger, on your pinky finger, and kind of covers the side of your hand. And the reason why they do that is because if you make a mark on this, if the brush is selected, you can just do it with your finger. So whatever is...
I can't do the erase.
Is the eraser blue?
Yes.
Okay. And what happens when you do it?
I get a little like black bubble going across.
You get a black bubble?
Yeah, but nothing's erasing.
Is it, you don't have layers selected, do you?
No, layer 1, no.
Maybe her point's too small.
What's that, Steve?
Maybe her point is too small.
Oh, yeah, maybe it is. Maybe the tip is too small, the brush size, Lynn.
Oh.
So go over to the top, to the slider that's at the top, and drag that slider up.
Yep.
Did that work?
No. No. How do I undo?
On that left-hand side that has the little hook.
Okay. Right.
All right, I'm going back out to gallery. I'm going to actually click on another one. On paper. Okay. All right, so now we've got just our regular empty page here. I'm clicking back on that brush. I've got my Willow Charcoal selected. And we're just going to use that reference photo. Can you see that reference photo that... Let's import that reference photo. We're going to draw right on top of it. Okay? So go back to... where did you save the reference photo to?
The gallery.
You saved it into the gallery of Procreate?
Yes.
Okay, so can you open that? How about you, Steve? Where did you save that to?
I'm certain to my iCloud, but I did import it into the gallery.
Okay, I have mine in photos right now, so I'm just going to go back to photos, and I'm going to click on the arrow up and import it into Procreate by clicking on Procreate. So if you already have that, Lynn, do you have that photo?
Yeah, I imported it.
Okay, so let's go back to the gallery, get that off out of the gallery. So now this is what we're going to work on. So let's talk about layers. Over in the right-hand corner, there's two little squares in front of each other. Click on that. Those are our layers.
Wait, I have a problem.
What's the matter?
Every time I touch the screen, I get this black thing. I think I have to start all over.
Back out of that and just import that picture.
It's here, but okay.
Every time you touch the screen, you get that?
Yeah. I don't know what it is. Lemon charcoal, willow charcoal. Okay, well.
Can you
figure it out.
can you start a new document? Like start a new one?
Do I press the white?
Go back to gallery.
Okay.
Go back to gallery and find it in gallery. Were you able to import it, Steve? Steve already has it on the screen, right? So does Diana. And you've got this layer button. You clicked up on layer.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let me try later. Okay.
So now we should see two layers here. One says background color, one says layer 1.
Uh-huh.
Okay? Ignore background color. We don't even need to concern ourselves. Click on the plus button because we want to start a second layer. So we're going to create a layer for each one of these objects. So layer 1, you can name it, or you can leave it as layer 2. You can click on it twice, rename. Then I'll just type in bottle. So that's my layer, that's the bottle layer. So whatever one is highlighted is the one that I'll be able to work on. So if I was to click on bottle, and I was to now click, so now I'm going to click on bottle, and I'm going to click off this, go back to my brush, make sure I'm on Willow Charcoal, click off that again, and now I'm just going to go on top of this. I'm going to lower my brush size so it's a lot smaller. And I'm just going to trace over what is there. Maybe even smaller. Trace over what is there. Kind of in a sketching way.
Still getting this big brown thing.
I don't know why it's doing that. That's very weird. So if I sketch right over this, then what will happen is if I go back to layers and click the X next to the layer 1, you'll be able to see that charcoal that is on there. If I click back on that, I'll get my background. And if I make a mistake on the bottle layer, I can just use my eraser tool and erase without affecting anything else that I did. Lynn, is it still doing that?
Yeah, I'm going back to the beginning.
Okay. I just finished tracing, so I need you to go back through all that.
All right, I am going to go back through it. Okay, so now I'm going to create, let's create another layer. So go back over to layers, click on the plus. This is going to be the bowl. I've got layer 3. I'm going to tap it twice. Click rename. I'm going to type in bowl. And you don't have to name them. If you can keep track, you don't have to name them. Click off it. I'm going to click back on it again to make sure it's set. There's bowl. It's highlighted in blue. So that's the one that's active. If I click off the layer 1, which is the original, it'll go away. But I want to be working, I want my active layer to be the bowl. So I'm going to click off it. And yet let's use a different charcoal that won't be so, I guess, well, it'll be a little darker, I guess. So let's take this 2B compressed at the top. Click off. You can kind of test it over to the side.
Click what?
Just kind of click, after you click this, just click
okay. Gotcha.
Then you want to make sure that your brush size is not that big. I'm gonna go to 9%, and I'm gonna bring my opacity down to like 36%. Because the less opacity, then the darker it will be.
Okay.
So now I'm just going to kind of trace over that. See that? Now look what's happening as I did this. This brush size is gigantic. Look what happened here. If I take off, see how big that got? So what we want to do is go back to this, to the bowl. I'm going to erase this. The eraser part, I can increase my brush size. Okay? So let's go with a much smaller brush size of like 2%. Come here, Scarlett. Come here. Come here. And then go back over to this bowl. And just draw over that. Now let's see if that worked. I'm going to get rid of this. No, it didn't. Why didn't that work? Isn't that weird? Hang on one second. That's weird that this... All right. Don't you just love when there's a tech problem in the middle of doing something?
Happens to me all the time.
Isn't it crazy? That is so weird that did that. Okay. All right, you know what? Switch over to this drawing section, the drawing brush. And see this one, there's one that says Little Pine.
Yes.
No, that's not the one.
Okay.
Bizarre. Okay, let's see. All right, you know what? Let's make it really easy. Go to sketching and then Duet. Yeah, go to that one.
Sketching and then what, Joanne? Okay.
Yeah. Can you see that one, Steve?
Yes, I've got it.
Okay. All right, so now click on that brush, and we're going to bring our brush size down to like 8%. Our opacity, I'm going to go down to like 50%. Are you able to adjust those?
Yep.
Okay. All right, so now I have,
Did you say the opacity too?
I moved my opacity down to 50%. Just like halfway, I guess. And I have my bowl layer selected. Now I'm just gonna press down. Make sure you click that. If the brush is not blue and you start drawing, it's not gonna do anything. So I'm just gonna trace over the top of the bowl, the sides.
Okay, so when we're using the charcoal brush, do I erase that?
Yes.
Start over with this brush?
Yes.
Okay, gotcha.
So I'm basically kind of giving it a darker section on this side on the left side of the bowl. Now if I go back to my layer, I can check to see what I did by clicking off the background image. So here's my bowl right there.
Okay, because to begin with, I can't even erase what I did at the beginning when I was.
Then import it in.
charcoal.
Import it in again as a new one.
Okay.
That's the best part about an iPad. You don't have to about Procreate. You don't have to. If you had paper, you'd have to crumple the paper up, throw it away.
Okay, so how do I get rid of this one completely?
Just
Oh,
go.
with my fingers?
You don't. Just go back to gallery.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Back to gallery and add. I went back to gallery. Okay, so I'm in gallery. What am I supposed to do? Add?
Do you see the picture?
Yeah, I
Just-
see the picture that I had before
Yep. Just use. Oh, you mean the one that you already used and you have.
that I'm working on. It's still there.
All right. What happens if you open that up again and then you go to layers and you click off your bottle and bowl layer?
Okay, erase the picture and left what I drew over. So, how do I get rid of that? Oh, it doesn't look too bad.
Well, let's just play with it for now too, Diana. So whatever's on there, add another layer. Let's add a third layer. Click on that plus button right there.
Okay.
We're going to add layer number 4.
Okay.
And I'm going to rename it Vase.
But it stays there. I added another layer, and what I already drew is on there. It's still
Yeah, but you can't touch it. It's okay. Leave it alone.
Okay.
It's all right if that happened. Don't worry about it. So I'm on my vase layer, which is this orange one right here. I'm going to go back to my brush. I'm still using that Derwent pencil, and I'm drawing over it. Okay? So, and then this part right here is a little bit darker. And all it's affecting now is the bottle. So if I made a mistake and I drew on top of this bowl, then I could erase it without it affecting, what I already did to the bowl. Does everybody understand? Go ahead.
Is this on video, or can we rewatch?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
I'm going to
lost
edit
already.
it. I'm going to edit it down I'm going to edit it first, and I'll put it in something else. It's just not being recorded in Zoom. I'm recording it on another phone,
Okay.
on another device. So there's my bottle, or vase, vase. I'm going to click back over to this layer, get rid of my background so we can see how we're doing. So that's what I have so far.
Oh, awesome.
So this import an image and draw on top of it function is a great way to practice what to do. You could do it with a photograph, just put the image in, draw on top of it, take away the layer, It doesn't look exactly like, I mean, everybody's is going to look completely different, but it's a good way to not only learn how to actually make those shapes as you're drawing something, but also to kind of play around with the brush. So I'm going to go back over to, what happened to Lynn? She crawled under the table? Oh, her microphone's off. Okay. I'm going to go back over to the bottle layer and do the same thing that we just did. So I'm going to draw over that bottle. And I'm really pressing. Like, I first I was like, this is too, I'm going to smash it. Like, I'm going to crack the glass. But I'm really pressing. Across here, and then just kind of coloring this in. And I mean, you could definitely you could also use this with color. You could change the colors. We'll get into that on another day. I'm just kind of coloring in a darker section here at the bottom. Now I have my brush size at 8%. I'm going to just up it a little bit. I'm going to double it to like 16% and see what happens. Just kind of holding it kind of perpendicular to the iPad. And then I'm just kind of going in the direction of that bottle, pressing harder. Just like if you were coloring with colored pencils, if you press harder, you're going to get a much darker shadow or shading. But if you kind of ease up and do it a little bit lighter, it won't be as dark. So heavy pressure versus light pressure, same thing. We're just simulating. I guess if you get rid of the idea that it's technology that you're using and you're not using something traditional, and instead just think of it as a completely other medium in addition to all the traditional, then you'll have a better understanding of it, and you'll kind of get rid of the intimidation of the technology. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, so now I'm going to click back on these layers and click off my background one so I can kind of see where I'm at.
That's awesome.
Okay, now I'm going to click back and let's add a layer for the background. Well, let's add a layer for the table. Click here. Layer 5 is going to be my table. I'm going to rename it. And I'm going to go back to my layer 1, back to my brush. Now let's change the color. Let's see what happens. Over in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little circle, and I'm on black. It's not even really black. It's like a licorice charcoal, deep charcoal color. I'm going to click on that, and then let's make it like an orange color. I'm just going to use the slider here to kind of get into this orange screen, this orange slider. And I'm just going to click anywhere where these colors are. So here's kind of just like an orange color. And then I'm going to click back on that little circle. And that means my brush color, my pencil color will be that orange color. So I'm going to go click on that blue. I'm still using Duet. And I'm still using my same opacity of 50%. And I've got like a 16% brush size. I can make it a little bit darker if I want, so it's a deeper color by changing the opacity. And I'm just kind of coloring in where all of this is. So you could do the same thing with this whole import an image thing too with a coloring page. You could import a coloring page in. You could create your layers. So say you had a coloring page that was like, I don't know, say there was like 4 mushrooms on the page. You could have a different layer for each mushroom. Now, it doesn't mean that the pencil is going to keep you in the lines of the mushroom or whatever the illustration is. You would still have to color it like you were coloring normally with markers or colored pencils or whatever medium you were using. So it's different than some people use a digital app like Recolor, where you tap the space and it fills it in and it stays within those black lines. When you're using this, you have to control where the color goes. So I'm going to click back over to this, layers, click off my last layer, and here I am with with my bottom, the table. I'm going to click back up, add another layer for my background. I'm going to rename it. I'll name it background. And then I'll change the color for that. Clicking on that little circle. And then I guess I'll do light blue. If you can click on some of the little swatches that are there. It also gives you along the bottom little options for different color palettes. I'm just on classic, but it does give you options to different colors. Click back on that. And now, as long as my layer is selected, and I've still got my Derwent pencil, I can change my brush size for this one because we've got a background happening. I'll change my opacity. I'm going to go up. So as I get closer to the actual items, I'm making it darker. And I can change my brush size so I can get in closer to what's here. Kind of sketch with it. Treat it like it's just either a crayon or a pencil or just filling in that whole area. Here's this top portion here. Now notice my hand is on this, right? I'm touching it. If I did not have the layer that I'm working on selected, I only have the background layer selected right now. Let's put that one too. So now I'm coloring on top of this, but if I didn't have only the background layer selected and the original drawings, the illustration selected or image, and I touch the bowl, it would actually make it so that this moved around. See what's happening there? I just put blue there. I added some blue on top of that. But because we're on the layer of the background right now, not the layer of the bowl, I can go back in and erase my mistake without it affecting anything I did to the bowl. I just want to make sure everyone understands the function of the layers. Does anybody have any questions about that? Are layers a totally new thing to anybody?
Me.
How about you, Steve?
No, I've used them with PowerPoint.
Okay.
Slides and such.
So, Steve, what kind of background do you have as far as computer skill? Like, do you have a background in computers or?
By education, I'm an engineer. I did get a master's in computer science.
Oh, wow, cool.
Computer information.
What type of engineer?
Civil.
Wow, very cool.
So I've had to learn a lot of computer stuff on my own. But, I've always had an interest in art.
What's that?
I've always had an interest in art, but I've never really.
It's amazing what you can do, like, later on, and, you know what I mean? Like, even if the interest was put aside.
Yes.
All right, so here's my background. And now I'm going to click off this background, this original one, and there is my finished piece. Now, you can take it so many steps further. I mean, I really kind of went with the basics today, because you can take it so many steps further and add more colors to it. You can blend different colors. And this is more of a still life drawing with charcoal type. I think the Derwent pencil was easier for us to manage on the screen rather than that charcoal one. But we're also going to learn how to draw a mandala where we'll work with different functions as far as making it kind of automatic. And then The painting ones, as far as painting a landscape, which will be week 3, and then painting a still life is week 4, would be similar to this. So the only one that really would be different would be that whole mandala and drawing that line art. And that is when it really becomes like the Procreate does it for you to a point. So let's just take a look at these functions so that we can kind of see just what the basic functions are. Just kind of a little bit of review. So that gallery brings you back to your gallery. And in my gallery are all of my saved images. Okay? So now you've got this one right here, and I'm going to click on it again. So here's here it is right here. Now it automatically saves itself within Procreate, but you can also save it on your iPad. So let's do that. So if we click on the wrench, and then if you see next to Canvas, it says share. So you click on share. And it gives you an option to share it in either Procreate or as the following different files. PSD, which is a Photoshop file. You can save it as a PDF or JPEG, a PNG file, or a TIFF. I usually just save it as a JPEG. And I'm not going to worry about sharing any of my layers. So let's click on JPEG. It's exporting. And then we see, where is it? Save image. I keep picking up other people's internet connections in my neighborhood every time I do this. Like I could save it to somebody else's computer. It's real scary. So do you see how I did that? You're sharing it, you're clicking JPEG, you're exporting it to save image, and that is saving it into my photos. So if I click out of this Procreate and go back to my photos, I have it in Photos. And you can share it too. I mean, this gave me a bunch of options. I could have shared it with I don't even know who these people are. I could have shared it with people that were in whoever internet connection I'm picking up, which is frightening, but that's how you save it. Okay? So if you go back over to this little tiny, like a magic wand next to the wrench, that'll bring up a whole menu of adjustments. So with these, you can actually go back in and you can click on, say, hue, saturation, and brightness, similar to what you would do with a photograph. And you can click on layer. It'll bring up this little bottom thing right here, and you can change the brightness or contrast or even the hue, and which will change the colors of what you have just finished. So really, when, a lot of people argue that that digital art is not art, right? A lot of people, especially in coloring groups, will say that people that have digitally colored something have never, that's not a skill at all. And that you have to do it by hand and it has to be traditional. So the true definition, Steve, my background actually is in digital art and media studies. And when I went to grad school, I wrote a thesis on digital art versus traditional art. And as an artist that never used digital tools at the time, I interviewed these 6 artists from around the world that used some form of technology to create art. And a lot of people believe that it is not art. It's just, you used a computer. It didn't take any skill. But not only do you need to learn how to use the actual software or the device that you're using. If you were to photograph, say, Starry Night by Van Gogh, that photograph of Starry Night in digital form is also considered another version of Starry Night. So it can become that you have this version of this piece of this drawing, you have this version of this piece. So it becomes many, many different versions of the same piece. So adjusting all of that can just kind of open up you can just do many, many different options. Whereas traditionally, some artists will paint the same subject matter over and over in different colors. Well, we can do the same thing here without having to paint 12 of these. We can just adjust them. Poof, we have 12 of them. Okay, so we've got the next one, which is this thing that looks like a little S. And that brings up this bottom menu, this menu at the bottom. And it basically just gives you some different objects, different options. You can add something to this. You can remove something. You can copy and paste. Feather, which we'll get into it in another session. You can go back to ellipse. And again, it gives you all of this. This rectangle means that we've got the palette, the background. So it's basically our canvas. And then when you go back up to this little arrow that's shooting, this basically will let you crop it. So it'll bring up a square of the little marching ant line. And if you just click on the blue corners, it'll allow you to crop it. So I can make this bigger, or I can make it into a different shape. And see how it's moving this? It's moving my pink because it's moving the layer I have selected. See that? So it's like it took the negative space and made it its own thing. Okay? So I'm going to reset it so that it's back to the way it was. Go back to the regular function. We talked about what the brushes were, where we can click on the brush library and get all of these different brushes. And I mean, I think the best way to learn it is to just kind of go in, play with them, see which one you like. When I drew my last mandala book, I used inking and I used Studio Pen. I played with every one of these brushes under inking. The only one I liked was Studio Pen. So it's really a personal preference. And then the little hand button just kind of makes you move what's there. It kind of takes the color that's there and just kind of moves it. Erase, we talked about erase, the eraser, the layers, and then the colors. And then on the left-hand side, we've got the sliders. We've got the top one, which is the brush size, the bottom one, which is the opacity, and then we've got undo. So if I click on this, I can undo all those crazy smudges I just did. So basically that hand is consider it a smudge. Anybody have any questions? Nothing?
No.
Okay. So, what we want to do next time is work on a mandala. So let me just kind of introduce you to what is going to happen. Okay? So we've got this gallery section here. And we're going to create a new canvas, so that little plus. And we're going to work with square. Okay? And then we're going to go to the wrench. And we want to set up our canvas. Go back to canvas. And then we're going to go to drawing guide, like we did last time, which gave us that grid. We're going to edit drawing guide. Assisted drawing. Symmetry. Options. Radial. It's a lot of steps for the mandala one, let me tell you. I had a little bit, and I'll have this all written down, all these steps, to take you through it next week. I'll email you all those steps. And if we click done, our guides are now on our screen. Okay, so I'll show you how this works. We're going to click here with the color. I think this is probably the one that people like the most. The mandala one. Being able to kind of just draw it like magic. Hopefully you can see that on my screen. I'm going to click on this brush, and I'm going to go over to this Studio Pen under inking. Now, I have mine set at like 11% and my opacity at 80. I don't know how that's going to be. So I'm just going to click on this. Now, whatever happens, you have 8 pies. Whatever happens inside each pie slice is going to happen in all of them. So I'm going to start out from the beginning and draw out to this. And it just duplicated it along those lines. If I do this again, it duplicates it. If I do this here, it duplicates it. If I stay within the pie, this is the part that you really wanted to learn how to do, right, Diana?
Mm-hmm.
So if you stay within that pie slice, it'll just do that. Now, what this does for me, as far as somebody, when you're creating a coloring book, if you were to take a regular drawing with pencil, which I'm going to say I have to find one, but I want to show you something. I don't know if that has the originals. Sometimes, oh, here. All right. So, for example, this page is from my Tiny Houses book. So these are my pencils. This is my original drawing for that book. So throughout this whole thing, I basically started with a piece of paper, a pencil. I sketched in my little houses. Then I went back over with ink, with a drawing pen, so that it was waterproof archival ink. And I went over all of this. Now, luckily, the program that I use to finish the page now will get rid of my pencil lines. So to finish this and to get it to have those clean lines like you see in the actual coloring book, now you need to get rid of those pencil lines. So what the Procreate app does is eliminate that step. So it eliminates having to now erase my pencil lines and clean up my lines. So if this was an original page, the next step would be to scan this. It looks like everybody is frozen. Is everybody frozen?
No,
Oh, all right. No, it was. Everybody was frozen. Like on my computer that I'm watching you on, Diana's hand is like this in front of me. But on the other one, it's not. It's weird. Okay. So the next step after this would be to take this, scan it, get rid of those pencil lines. I use Adobe Illustrator to get rid of those pencil lines on the computer, and I have to do that to every page. And then I can adjust my line weight. So this eliminates that process. So this is done. So now you can take this, you can go back to you can now go back and export it like we did the other one in Share as a JPEG, and then export it here. And it's in my gallery, it's in my phone. I'm sorry, it's in my photos file. It's probably in my phone too. And there it is. And you can make it bigger. So the speed in which you can do it is incredible. And there's some different programs you can buy. You can download them specifically for Procreate. One of them is specific to mandalas, where it kind of has these stamps that are right here. So you could actually use these floral stamps or this flower set brushes that I have, where you take one of these brushes right here, for example, succulent that I have on there. Say I just erase what's here. And I've got that brush selected of that flower. Now, whatever I do here is just going to duplicate. And poof, you have a coloring page. So, I mean, I'm kind of giving away the secret here, but this is what this is for. So, but that's exact. And if I just kind of erase there, isn't that amazing, Steve? That it just
That is amazing.
The profit in coloring books is not that much. Like an $11.99, an $8.99 coloring book is less than $3 profit. So when you think about how long it takes you to draw a coloring book, for an artist to draw a coloring book, my attitude has always been, not that I want to give out less quality work or I don't want to give my best. I'm not going to draw something that is going to take me 30 hours to draw times 24 pages and then sell it for $8.99, you know? Like, and like, how many books will I sell? You know, I'm not Johanna Basford from England. You know, I'm not Hannah Lynn. I'm not someone that is selling hundreds of thousands of copies of books. So as an independent artist, it's a little different. How quickly can I get the pages out is the name of the game for me. So, but it is amazing that if you can go in and download those. If you just did a Google search on free Procreate brushes, you can find tons of them that are free. I downloaded this floral stamp ones, this flower set one, and then this mandala one, which I don't even know if that one has. Oh no, this one has to have. It could make. This reminded me of the hypnotic book, Diana.
Is that how you did it?
No, hypnotic I did in Adobe Illustrator. Hypnotic was I started out as mandalas that I had done in Adobe Illustrator because way long ago, way before iPads were out, or maybe at the beginning, I started using, do I have it under here? I started using what's called, I don't even think I have it in here, a Wacom tablet, which was like the old version, the original version of an iPad. It was a tablet, and then it hooks up with a wire, you know, like old school, to your computer, and you have a stylus, and you draw on the tablet, and then what you draw, you see on the screen. So a lot of eye and hand coordination, because what you're drawing here is coming up on the screen, so you kind of control it. Same thing, it was like you were drawing with a mouse type thing. So when I did Hypnotic, I drew that on the Wacom tablet, and then it came up on the screen, and I had these mandalas. So they were digitally created because they were digitally done with a device. And then when I one day was fooling around with my computer and fooling around with the software, all of a sudden I said, what if I click this? And when I clicked that, it created one of those pages from that book, from Hypnotic. And I just shared that on a group thinking, what do you guys think? Would you color this? And I was shocked that people said that they would. So that was an accident.
Oh, it's so cool though. I like that book.
Yeah. So this is just like playing with it. And then this background section here is kind of like, if I go back down, I can kind of get a little bit lighter. But this kind of reminds me of that Hypnotic, doesn't it?
That's nice, yes.
Or I could just kind of erase what's there, get just my edges. You can also take an image that you've drawn and import it and kind of keep repeating it. So that's what we'll take a look at next week, is just these mandalas. I mean, look at that. It just kind of created that cross. I mean, I don't really like this part right here, but I think I would just kind of erase what's there for that middle section. But it's just a matter of playing around with it and seeing what you can do with it. It's kind of scary that you can just tap like that and it's done. Right? There's there's another one that's a mandala creator where it has a lot of different brushes that's in it. It's by this man his name goes by Everdrifter, and I can get you the link for it. You download it into it. A lot of my mandala books are done with it, where you can use it with Adobe Illustrator, or you can use it with Photoshop. And what ends up happening is it has all of the elements of the mandala. So if you were to draw a mandala, which is just like I'll show you which one here. Like, say this mandala that I had done is in one of, I don't even know if this made the cut. Maybe this is a new one. If I was going to take this and go back to that studio pen, there you are, then I can add little things to it. And what ends up happening is, in that software that you can download for it, you can actually get all of these little elements without having to draw them yourself. I'm just kind of like quickly drawing that, but just kind of that's how it adds it. So what do you think? Any questions about what we did today?
Nope. I'm gonna look at the video over and over.
Okay,
All right,
watch
so
the video.
I'm gonna upload the video to a YouTube video that will be completely unlisted, and you'll be able to, only people with the link can view it. So I'll email you the link of the video, but it probably needs to process until tomorrow. So
No problem.
and I'll do that for each week. But hopefully this was at least answered some questions about like what does everything do.
Yes, thank you so much. It helped a lot.
Okay, good.
That was a great overview.
Okay, good.
At least now I can get on there and start playing. You know, I had no idea what keys to push and stuff. But at least
Well,
I know where to pick up stuff now.
because if you don't know what all these functions do, then you're in trouble, right? And then if you really just kind of start out with one thing, I mean, you can't, like I started out with just mandalas, then I started out with just drawing it, but I kind of already, like all of these functions, I was familiar with all of them because of using that Wacom tablet. And on the Wacom tablet, the craziest part was the functions. See how this side right here has the slider and this little button in the middle? And all right. On the Wacom, but up here there's the wrench at least, and there's some little images. The Wacom tablet has nothing. I'm going to have to take it out from underneath this desk and show you. So I had to memorize what all the little black buttons did on a black tab. It was like, when I ever saw this, I was like, this is, oh my, why didn't anybody do this last time? It's like having, like the keys without labels, which my keyboard on my computer, all the letters are worn off. But imagine if you had a keyboard that never had any letters on it. Is basically what it was like. So, everything will be saved back into the gallery. Everything will be saved back into your right into Procreate. The other thing that it does too, I wanted to show you that. The other thing it does is it automatically creates a video of what you did. So if I go back to gallery and go to video, if I export time-lapse video, I'm going to do full length. I'm going to save it to my computer. I mean my iPad. Go back to photos, and it is going to give me a video of everything I just did.
Oh, cool.
So this will do this with every drawing.
Okay. Yeah, nice.
What was the last thing I wanted to show you? Oh, this is another example of import an image. I did this the other day so I could show you what I was talking about. Import an image and then draw on top of it to get a line drawing. So there's a photograph. There's the photograph of this woman that I got on Pixabay. I added a layer. I drew on top of it, get rid of the layer, and there's a line art. It's terrible. I'm not very good at drawing people, by the way. So, but I just want, like the lines that were not even there, right here. Here's a line that's created. You know, people are not mine. I'm terrible at drawing people. That's why I never do any books with people. I'm not gonna do like a fairy book or something. Do you have any questions, Lynn?
No, I just started from the beginning. I was rudely interrupted by the phone.
Okay. All right, so I'll upload the video to the unlisted YouTube video tonight after it processes, and then I'll send you guys a link.
Okay.
All right. So we meet again in 2 weeks. Will we meet again on July 28th?
Thank you so much.
All right.
The plan.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.
All right.
Good to meet you, Steve.
Y'all have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Steve. Bye, Lynn. Bye, Diana.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Doggy just